There we go. All right. We're back. Audio is going to audio. Let's make sure it's working live here. There we go. There we go. All right. We're back. Audio is going to audio. Let's make sure it's working live here. All right. Cool. So, you could probably tell by either the way I'm standing or what it looks like, but we're standing for the stream. We're going legs up. We're going blood flow into the feet because we're going through Maker today. All right. And Maker is actually a place where people can lend out their crypto and not only get other people to borrow, but you actually are making or help make what's called a stablecoin, and that would be DAI. But this is a very complex area. This is not something that we're going to breeze through. To make matters even more complicated, Maker, or MakerDAO, is the entire conglomerate per se, is known, right? A DAO being a decentralized autonomous organization. But MakerDAO is no longer a thing. MakerDAO is now Sky. We can actually check this out here. I think it's sky.money. And so this is what as autonomous organization. This is what Maker has become, right? So if we even go to the MakerDAO, if we go to their website, we'll see that MakerDAO at the very top here. For those vertical, you can't see this, but MakerDAO is now Sky, the next evolution of DeFi. So it is the same system. DAI is a stablecoin, meaning that it's 1-to-1 parity with the US dollar. And they have now created the Sky token, which if we scroll down here, is going to replace DAI, or at least they're intending to. DAI is 1-to-1 with the US dollar, but DAI is also now 1-to-1 with this USDS or Sky. And the Maker token is now becoming the Sky token. But before we dive into this, I want to show what the stablecoin market capitalizations look like. And you can see, and you can't see on the vertical right now, but I want everyone to know that this right here, this number, that is DAI, right? The one in the front is USDT, Tether, or one below it is USDC in USDC, US dollar coin, made by Circle, owned partially by Coinbase, and then you have DAI. So DAI is the third largest stable coin. Excuse me. And they have now moved on from DAI to this thing called USDS, or this Sky token. And so it is a bit of a rebrand, but that is what we're dealing with here. And there's 5 billion DAI in existence. And so we'll kind of go through what is MakerDAO, where does the value come from, what is the Maker token, and what is DAI. It's all very a little messy. It takes a lot to wrap your head around, but in the realm of stable coins, in the realm of these things that are meant to equal a dollar or be parity with a dollar, how can it be done algorithmically, right? How can this token equal $1 without any dollar in its holding, right? And so we'll kind of go through that and where the value comes from of this MakerDAO ecosystem, which is now the Sky ecosystem. Algorithmically, right? How can this token? So Maker explained a beginner's handbook to the Maker protocol. The Maker protocol, also known as the multi-collateral DAI protocol, this is where DAI comes into play. It is a smart financial system. It lets people create this thing called DAI, which is supposed to equal $1. One DAI equals $1. A digital currency that it always aims to equal $1 US. So it'll never. The point of this token is not to increase in value. It is meant to hold the dollar's worth. One of these will always equal $1 US. To make DAI, you need to provide some valuable stuff as collateral, which as we'll see later on, if you are unable to pay, or if you're unable to keep this asset and you have to forfeit it to default, you would lose this collateral. So to make DAI, you need to provide some valuable stuff as collateral, like certain cryptocurrencies such as ETH. A special community known as the MakerDAO, or the Maker Decentralized Autonomous Organization, often referred to as Maker Governance, so this is where that Maker token comes into play, makes the rules for this system and ensures everything runs smoothly. DAI is a stable and secure currency, so it doesn't lose value quickly like some others, making it a great choice for all sorts of financial activities in the world of DeFi. Now, there was another project out there. It's a little bit of a taboo name to say these days, but Terra Luna and the, let me move this a little bit, and the Luna project, or the Terra project, that did not go as intended, with some nefarious activities, but you know, there's still good projects out there that are trying to bridge this stablecoin gap and create basically US dollar acting currencies without the input or the necessity for US dollars. So we have the Maker protocol. This Maker protocol has 3 pillars, right? This entire Maker ecosystem has 3 pillars. It has a DAI pillar, it has the Maker token, so the actual Maker token itself, and then the MakerDAO. So you have 3 pillars, DAI being a token, the Maker token also being a token, and then the MakerDAO, this decentralized autonomous organization that's governing all of this, that is now Sky Finance. DAI is a cryptocurrency designed to stay close in value to the US dollar. You know, imagine having a dollar that isn't controlled by any government, right? No one can come and take these DAIs away from you. It is something that is not even in control of, or in control by, an organization or a government. This is a US equal asset, a US dollar equivalent that is not also run and operated by the US government. Secondly, you have the Maker token. So the Maker token is a way to participate in this whole entire ecosystem, where the more Maker you own, the more say you have in the decisions about the system. So the Maker token, while we'll see later on, also acts as a buffer to kind of even out this monetary system. The Maker token is like a share almost, like it's a voting right in the protocol. You can vote on if you want certain upgrades to happen. You can vote on if you want to push these updates. But you don't actually, it's not like a share in that you own this protocol. There's no value that you can accrue if it's like, you can't think of it in a business sense, but it's a voting right on what to do with the protocol. And then lastly, you have MakerDAO, which is a bit of like a board of directors, where the DAO itself is made to ensure that the entire system runs smoothly. And so it's not really like a traditional company. It's more of like a decentralized organization run by people all over the world. And it is open source. And so these developers, these aggregations of people hold these Maker tokens and help develop this protocol, and then, you know, use these tokens to say yay or nay to things that are going on within the Maker protocol. Within the Maker protocol, there are some essential components as well, such as collateral vaults, oracles, and voting. Think of it like the engine room of a big ship. MakerDAO, a decentralized group, manages this engine room, making important decisions like interest rates and which assets to use as collateral. These choices are made through the power of Maker token holders. So essentially, to create DAI, there needs to be assets that are put up. You can kind of see in this visual at the bottom here that a borrower, somebody's going to take a loan out of, let's say, 1,000 DAI, and me being someone who wants to borrow against my assets, I would have to put that asset up. So I want to borrow 1,000 DAI, take my asset as collateral, so that if I lose this 1,000 DAI, or I can't pay back the DAI plus the interest, you have my collateral and you can sell part of it to recoup your money if I default. this entire system is operated by people worldwide. It's a pioneer in the DeFi ecosystem, and it's a bit like the UN of crypto, I guess. It's there to create a fair and reliable financial world. And what this MakerDAO does is, if the initial system started with ETH and the creation or borrowing of this DAI currency, this MakerDAO would then be there to approve or deny, hey, can we start to use tokens as collateral? Can we bring Poly, or can we bring Aave tokens as posted collateral? And they would be the ones approving or denying that these upgrades can go in or that these are necessary for the protocol. And so a little bit of background on the MakerDAO protocol is the Maker protocol originally introduced something called single collateral DAI, there's DAI again, which offered a groundbreaking approach to generating DAI, which was still also a stable currency, by leveraging Ethereum as collateral, which is very, very similar to the way that it operates today, or I guess operated, because now it's Sky. This was achieved through unique smart contracts known as collateralized debt positions. And if anyone's familiar with financial history, 08, there were mortgage-backed securities, MBS, which is collateralized debt position. Essentially, they took out debt and they're putting up their house as collateral in case they can't pay the debt. And so this is, hey, I want a mortgage. I want to borrow money, but I don't have any assets yet. So the assets that I have are the house in that situation. In this situation, you already have the assets. So you're like, hey, I want to borrow. I don't want to sell my ETH. Let's go back here. I don't want to sell my ETH. I have ETH, but I still want to borrow DAI or $1,000. Can I give you my ETH? You'll give me half of what it's worth. That way I at least have cash in my pocket and I don't have to sell my ETH. And then if I use that money to my advantage, I give you your money back and interest, and I keep the gain. Whatever it is, it's just posting your collateral in case you can't pay back. In those early days, DAI generated using only Ethereum as collateral was referred to a single collateral DAI. Fast forward to today, and the Maker protocol known as MCD, or multi-collateral DAI, has evolved to accept a broader range of Ethereum-based assets as collateral. This goes back to mentioning, people wanted to use other assets to be able to take loans out again. So this is where other tokens came into play, and it's just building out the system to be able to use these tokens. The inclusion of these assets is subject to approval by Maker token holders. Again, there's that MakerDAO, who also have the responsibility of voting on risk parameters for each collateral asset. Again, what is the threshold that we're willing to take? If you are borrowing against ETH is a little bit more, it's less risky than another asset on Ethereum, like a meme coin, right? Let's say there was a wrapped Doge or something. And so because Doge would be a little bit more risky than ETH, the parameters would probably be something like, okay, you have to post 75% of the loan as collateral, or you can only take out 25% based on how risky it is or how volatile it may be. DAI stands out in the crypto world as a decentralized and unbiased cryptocurrency. You have to post 75% of the loan. DAI stands out in the world. DAI stands out in the crypto world as a decentralized and unbiased cryptocurrency, uniquely soft pegged to the US dollar. This is the purpose of stablecoins, to be pegged to the US dollar, to be parity. They want to have the value of one token of the stablecoin equal $1 US forever and always. That's the objective. And so DAI is soft pegged, meaning it's not backed by hard assets. It's not backed by government bonds. It's not backed by US dollar. It is pegged to the US dollar by an algorithm full of a concoction of other crypto assets. We'll soon find out that some of those crypto assets are other stablecoins. And so you begin to question, okay, how, if DAI is somewhat backed by USDC or USDT, and then they hold government bonds, are this not also backed by government bonds? Raises a few questions. DAI stands out in the crypto world as a decentralized and unbiased cryptocurrency, uniquely soft pegged to the US dollar. While other organizations have created stablecoins, MakerDAO's DAI aims to uphold the core principle of decentralized blockchains, global adoption without a central authority. Its primary value lies in its stability, minimizing the price volatility that is commonly associated with many other cryptocurrencies. And then here's a little picture of centralized finance, which in this example is Sarah and Robert. Sarah goes to the bank goes to the clearinghouse goes to the attendant, and then the attendant gives it to Robert. Whereas in decentralized finance, Sarah interacts with the blockchain smart contract protocol. It does what it needs to do. In this case, it would facilitate Sarah lending her money to Robert, and then Robert on the other side of that smart contract does not even have to know who Sarah is or have anybody in between doing those handoffs. Since the launch of single collateral DAI in 2017, the adoption of DAI has witnessed remarkable growth. It has become a cornerstone for decentralized applications that are driving the DeFi movement. In a broader context, the success of DAI aligns with a larger industry trend centered around stablecoins, cryptocurrencies designed to preserve their value and function as digital money. If imagine you were abroad, imagine you live somewhere else outside of the US. You could even be in Canada, but let's just take a smaller country like a East Asian country, right? The access to dollar is to US dollars is very limited abroad. So if you are in a poor country by GDP and you don't have access to the dollar, if you're in Venezuela and the currency is the currency is inflating at a rate that is unsustainable, you can't trust to keep your life savings in that currency. It will be inflated away. And so a lot of these citizens abroad or these countries abroad need a way to access US dollars. Countries like China, Japan, when they access US dollars, they don't use it within their country. So governments have access to US dollars, but then they buy bonds because those dollars what are you going to use a dollar for in China? So they hold bonds and whatnot. But the citizens, if they're part of a country that has an even worse currency where it is inflating like Venezuela, they want something that they can preserve their wealth in. And these stable coins that are available on the decentralized web allow them to hold US dollar equivalents abroad as a safe space to store their money. And so this also kind of, in a weird way, promotes the US dollar without it actually being the US dollar, right? People want to hold US dollars, but the current system doesn't allow for them to just go to their current exchange and exchange their Venezuelan currency for US dollar. In a broader context, as the cryptocurrency industry continues to expand, it is expected that various entities, including banks, financial services companies, governments, and organizations outside the traditional financial sector, will explore and create their own stable digital currencies, such as central bank digital currencies. CBDCs are still being tossed around, but there has been a lot more talk in recent years that banks or governments are going to want to implement something like that. But we do know that Circle has a stable coin. They're not a bank by any means, but it could be a neobank, could be a new digital bank. Some of these other areas, JP Morgan has Onyx, a crypto arm, and Facebook at one point in time was trying to do Libra, which was a unique twist on a stable coin-esque currency. The Maker protocol itself plays a pivotal role in the Ethereum ecosystem. It is among the largest decentralized applications on the Ethereum network. The governance of the protocol, along with managing the financial risks associated with DAI, is entrusted to Maker token holders. The governance structure involves a combination of executive voting and governance polling, with each Maker token locked in a voting contract representing one vote. This approach ensures the stability, transparency, and efficiency of the DAI ecosystem. We're on to governance. All right. So the Maker protocol relies on a special token called Maker for decision making. Holders of Maker have the power to propose and vote on changes to the protocol. So you have to hold this Maker token to make decisions. And Maker token, I believe, is at like $2,000 right now. Yeah, it's about $2,000 a token. We'll go down here so people on the vert can see. Right here, it's about $2,000 per token. So the Maker protocol relies on a special token called Maker, and so you have to have the token to make these votes and proposals. But there's a catch. It's not just the Maker holders who have a say. Anyone can suggest the changes to the protocol, to this process, but it's the Maker holders who are voting on this process. To ensure decisions are well considered and have broad support, there are 2 key steps. First, there's a poll where the community shares their opinions and proposed changes. This acts as a kind of rough consensus to understand what most people want, and then there's an executive vote to make the final decision. Maker holders also have the ability to increase the supply of Maker tokens when the system has too much debt. This is done through a process called a debt auction and helps maintain the balance of the system. It's a way to make sure that Maker holders are incentivized to manage the Maker ecosystem responsibly. The decisions that Maker holders can make are quite extensive. They can introduce new types of collateral that can be used to generate DAI, modify the rules of the system, change the interest rates, select the sources of information, and do all these different things. And so really the Maker token, although it has its own, its unique value proposition in that you're voting on the rights of this protocol, but it also has this extra dividend-esque piece that you can decide on where the Maker protocol spends its money. So the biggest part about MakerDAO is the DAI stablecoin. It all comes back to what is DAI, creating DAI, how much DAI is out there, and keeping it 1-to-1 with the US dollar. DAI is tied to the US dollar. It's attempting to, and it is managed in a unique way. People can either mint DAI, which is making it, producing it, creating it, by putting assets into a special account called a Maker Vault, or buy it from exchanges. So you can either create it through the MakerDAO system or buy it off a secondary exchange like a decentralized exchange like Uniswap or Coinbase if it's a centralized exchange. This is all Sky now. Keep that in mind. Once you have DAI, you can use it for all sorts of things like buying stuff, sending it to others, and even saving it to earn some extra via interest. What's special about DAI is that every single one of them is backed by assets worth more than the DAI itself. And all the DAI transactions can be seen by everyone on the Ethereum blockchain. You could go see the contract for all of DAI's actions. You can go see the smart contract and everything that it's told to do when it receives a certain amount of money. Critical features of DAI is that it possesses all of the 4 major functions of money. So DAI possesses a store of value. It's a stablecoin. It is designed to function as a store of value, even in a volatile market. It's a medium of exchange. It's used around the world for all types of purposes. It's a unit of account. It's a standardized measurement of value used to price goods, just like the US dollar. And it's a standard of deferred payment. DAI is used to settle debts within the Maker protocol because Maker makes DAI. Additionally, DAI has a universal setting known as the DAI savings rate that decides how much interest DAI holders can earn on their savings. The DSR enables any DAI holder to earn savings effortlessly by locking their DAI into the DSR contract within the Maker protocol. There's no need for a minimum deposit, and users can withdraw their DAI whenever they wish. Now, this is where creating DAI, this is how this process happens, right? In this Maker Vault. So in the Maker protocol, approved collateral assets like ETH can be used to generate DAI through Maker Vaults, which are managed by these smart contracts. Creating a vault is very straightforward, but it comes with the responsibility to repay the borrowed DAI and the fee, or, just if you take a loan and the APR, the interest, to unlock the collateral within the vault. Again, if I put up one ETH, and I get 3,000 DAI in return, not even 3,000. If I put up 1 ETH and I get $1,500 or 1,500 DAI, I need to be able to pay that 1,500 DAI back and the interest that came with it, or that stability fee. There are 4 steps to interact with the Maker Vault. You first have to create a collateralized vault, which is where you fund your collateral. This becomes collateralized, meaning it is backed by the deposited asset. So this contract is a collateralized vault. Once your vault is funded, in step 2, it is going to initiate a transaction to generate a certain amount of DAI. This process involves keeping your collateral locked in the vault. Step 3 is then you're going to have to repay debt and stability fee to get your asset back. So steps 1 and 2 are what you're doing to borrow the money, and step 3 and 4 is what you're doing when you're trying to get your assets back out. So once you've invested this DAI that you've borrowed, you're now coming back, you're repaying the debt and the stability fee. And then step 4, once you've returned that DAI and paid the stability fee, you can withdraw your collateral back to your wallet, and your vault will be empty until you decide to deposit and use the MakerDAO app again. Keep in mind that each type of collateral requires its own separate vault. So you're going to have one for ETH, one for Poly, one for Link, whatever it may be. Some users may have multiple vaults with different collateral types and levels of collateralization. Mix and match, do what you want. To ensure there's always enough collateral in the Maker protocol to cover the DAI value, risky vaults, as determined by Maker governance parameters, are liquidated through automated auctions. This is decided by comparing the liquidation ratio to a vault's current collateral to debt ratio. Different vault types have their own liquidation ratios set by Maker voters based on the collateral's risk. The target price is 1-to-1 pegged to the USD. This is saying that depending on the assets in the vault, you're going to have a different liquidation ratio. So again, if you're using a riskier asset like a meme coin, you may only be able to borrow 25% of the total value at that point in time. Let's say I had $4,000 in Doge. They'd probably only lend me $1,000, right? Because it's going to be risky. And then they'd set a threshold that, hey, if your Doge goes below $2,000 in total value, we're liquidating, right? It's a very low threshold. So this is what happens when you can't pay off that debt. You can't collect all your assets. It gets sent to an auction. Think about like a storage shed, right? There was a very big show on like the History Channel with like the pickings or whatever. If you can't pay or you don't come to collect, they auction off everything that was in the vault. So in the Maker protocol, when a vault is too risky, it gets liquidated. This means that the system sells the collateral from the vault in an auction to cover any outstanding debt and penalties. If I borrowed DAI and I still owed like $200, it would sell the amount of ETH in that vault to make up for the money owed. I would still be able to get my existing or my remaining assets out, but it would automatically, through the code, through the rules that it was programmed to do, it would automatically bring those assets to auction to cover the debts that I owed. And we'll come to find out that these auctions are pretty much automated completely between bots who are going to buy these assets at fire sales. Come to find out that these auctions are pretty much automated completely between. So in these auctions, someone pays DAI to buy the collateral. This DAI goes to settle the debt and penalties, but there might be some collateral left over. If there's enough DAI to cover everything and some collateral is left, they have a special auction to give the vault owner a chance to get back some of their collateral. But if the auction doesn't raise enough DAI, the system goes into something called protocol debt. This is very important to how the Maker system works. Protocol debt is covered by the DAI in the Maker buffer, which is just a side pot Maker's holding to cover actions like this. However, if there is not enough DAI in that buffer, the protocol triggers a debt auction. And to cover this debt, they make more Maker tokens and sell them to the market for DAI. This increases the overall supply of Maker, the token used in protocol governance. So let's read that again. You have someone who has gone into debt. They can't pay back the fees they owe to collect the assets they've put up as collateral. There is a side pot as a part of the Maker protocol called the Maker buffer, which is just like a savings account with DAI in it. If there's not enough DAI in that buffer, right? Sometimes you burn through your savings. If there's not enough DAI in that buffer, the protocol then triggers another step called a debt auction. And so let's say someone had $1,000 worth of fees that they owed, and there was only $500 worth of DAI in this Maker buffer. You now have $500 worth of debt auction. And to cover this debt, the protocol makes more Maker tokens, which we know are selling at 2,000 a stick. They make more of those tokens and then sell them on the open market for DAI, which is going to increase the overall supply of the Maker token, which is this governance token, this VIP ticket. And so the Maker buffer, as we've said, acts like a savings account. It holds DAI from auctions and fees. So it's not going back in. It's being held on the side to make sure runs don't happen. And when it has too much, they hold an auction to buy Maker tokens from the public to reduce this. So it's just a constant cycle of, okay, we need to make more Maker. We're going to get rid of this Maker so that we can cover these debts. But when we have enough of this DAI in the savings pool, we're then going to buy it back so that not everyone has this free reign over the protocol. So these auctions help to keep everything in balance and ensure that the system always has enough collateral to cover its debts. Conversely, when the earnings from auctions and stability fees surpass a certain limit set by the governance, they hold a surplus auction, where in this auction, bidders compete by offering more Maker tokens to get a fixed amount of DAI. After the surplus auction, the Maker protocol automatically destroys the collected Maker, reducing the total supply. And so this reduces the total amount of Maker in circulation. Okay. And so after hearing how all of that works, there's some really important elements that come with the Maker protocol. Wherein that, because it is a DAO, it relies on a number of external groups and community members to help it operate, right? This isn't a business, it's a DAO. Those 4 different groups are keepers, oracles, settlers, and DAO teams. Keepers are independent actors, often automated, who profit from price differences. So in the Maker protocol, they help keep DAI at $1. When DAI's market price is above $1, keepers sell it so that there's less of this asset in circulation. And when it's below $1, they buy it so that they increase the price. Keepers also participate in auctions when Maker vaults are liquidated. Price oracles are crucial for the protocol to know when to trigger liquidations. They provide real-time data on the market prices of collateral assets. Maker voters select trusted oracles to feed price information into the system. Global settlers, which are emergency oracles, serve as a final defense against attack on governance or oracles. They have the authority to freeze individual oracles to prevent a rush of users withdrawing assets during an emergency shutdown. DAO teams are groups of individuals or service providers who offer specific services to MakerDAO. They operate independently and can be contracted through Maker governance. So in a nutshell, keepers maintain the stability, the price of DAI. The price oracles provide the real-time data, and the global settlers act as a safety net if anything goes wrong, there's wrong prices or anything in the mix. And then the DAO teams offer the services to make sure everything is kept up. So the Maker protocol not only is showing this autonomous, decentralized way of creating US dollar parity stablecoin, but it's a huge step towards democratizing financial assets. And it really shows that, you know, even spread out, people can develop and put this code out there that can facilitate this new financial future and this on-chain financial infrastructure. And so just to kind of tie it all, you know, back to one, is that this protocol, MakerDAO, we can see here is, you know, even though it's not the MakerDAO anymore, it still exists as Sky Money. And it's the same platform with it, and even looks like to be completely smoother user interface. Let's see what else. See some old works of mine. See what's going on at the let's go to what is that? The Axios. That's what it is. Got it in my brain. Oh yeah, this was big today. This was big today. Let's see what else is going on. Let's see. All right, that's it for today.